Many people really underestimate how much of an impact colourful fish can have on your fish tank. It's incredible, really. I mean, colourful fish by themselves are already really cool to look at, but most people seem to forget that when you're looking at them in the shop, they're just in an empty tank with barely anything inside. However, add in some wood and a few rocks and loads of plants and combine that with some of the incredible colours of the fish I'm about to mention, and you will end up with a mesmerising display. So yeah, I'm going to give you 5 fish with some incredible colors that will take your fish tank to the next level. Now, the first fish on my list is one of the most underrated fish in this hobby, and that is the Cardinal Tetra. Guys, please hear me out. They are honestly so underrated. I think the problem is that they are so readily available. Pretty much every fish store that you go to, you will find Cardinal Tetras, and because so many people got used to seeing them, I think they forget how incredible their colors are. They are literally half red and half blue, and them in a school, oh, they look mesmerizing. Now, a really cool thing about them as well is that they're cheap. Now, yes, if you want a really big group, then of course it's going to get a bit pricey. However, you don't need to get a big group straight away. You can get like 5 and then maybe next month get 5 more and so on, and build up the group slowly because they'll school up even if you only have 5. Now, the other really good thing is you can get them literally anywhere. So if you are just starting with your fish tank hobby, or if you're just starting to realize that they are actually really cool, you could just literally go into any fish store and get yourself some. They are so readily available. And the other thing is they are so easy to look after, people. They're very hardy. They eat near enough everything you throw into the tank, but I should mention they don't get too big, so they could potentially end up as snacks. I mean, for example, in my fish tank with my moray eel, my rope fish and my African butterfly fish and all the other fish that have big mouths, there's no way in hell Cardinal Tetras would survive in my fish tank. Now, I've already touched on it a little bit, but when they're in a school, it is honestly mesmerizing. The way they move, it's amazing. Honestly, if my dreams come true and one day I have a fish room, I'm most definitely gonna have like a 200-litre tanks with just Cardinal Tetras inside. Now, one way to bring out the color as well is of course having them in a well-planted tank. That contrast between the green and the red and blue is just amazing. So yeah, if you do have Cardinal Tetras or you are planning to get them, make sure you have plants in that fish tank. It makes a big difference. The other really cool thing is that the males and females look the same. You will notice that in the fish hobby, most of the time it's the males that have the incredible colors and the females are kind of dull. And that's because it's the male's job to impress the female. So yeah, an outcome of that is females a lot of the times are quite dull when it comes to the really colorful fish. However, with the Cardinal Tetras, they all pretty much look the same. Now, let's move on to the next fish, and that is the Bozemanai rainbow fish, or Bozemanai, however you want to pronounce it. And yeah, their colors, they are on another level of unique, man. I mean, half of their body is blue and the other half is yellow. It looks so incredible, man. I can't even think of any other fish that has something like that. It's crazy unique, and they will definitely catch your eye all the time, especially in a planted tank, because once again, that contrast with the green, it just looks incredible. Now, unfortunately, they are a little bit more expensive. I mean, in the local fish store that I visit, I think they're like 2 for £16 or maybe 2 for £18, something like that. So yeah, they are a little bit more pricey, but at the same time, you're getting these beautiful fish, so I think they're worth it. They'll also get to a nice size. They don't get super big, but they don't stay too small either. And yeah, because they're a bit bigger, you have a bit more variety on potential tank mates. Now, they are fairly common as well. You can get them in most places where you can buy fish. They're not as common as the Cardinal Tetra, but I think that's more down to them just always being sold out. But in general, it should be fairly easy to find them. As I'm sure you can imagine, they also look incredible in a group, especially if you have a planted tank. It just looks amazing. And also, they're fairly easy to feed. Now, not super easy because they do have small mouths, so some of the food they won't be able to eat properly. But the food that I feed to my tank, which is the Tetra Pro Multicolor Crisp and the Tetra Prima Granules, they eat them up just fine and they love them. They're also peaceful, and the best thing about them, you see how I mentioned earlier that the females look different in some of the fish species? Here, the females do look different. They don't have that perfect half blue, half yellow look. However, the females do look fairly okay. Like, they're not incredibly dull. They do have some color. And yeah, talking about that, that brings us on to the next fish, which is the Congo Tetra. And it's a bit of a combination because I'm talking about the normal Congo Tetras and the albino Congo Tetras because, oh, they are just amazing. Now, Congo Tetras do look incredible in a school, but with them, the females are incredibly dull. Like with the normal Congo Tetras, the females are literally just grey. There is no color in them at all. It's the males that have the incredible colors. With the albinos, it's almost the same, but because they're albinos, the females do look a bit more appealing compared to the grey that the normal Congo Tetras have. But having said that, you can easily just have a tank full of male Congo Tetras and I'm sure they'll be fine. It might be a bit harsh on them because they won't have any females to have fun with, but yeah, you can technically have that because I have seen it before and for them it worked. Now, a cool way to look at them is they're basically a big Cardinal Tetra or like a big Tetra in general. So if you have a big enough group, they will also school together, and because they get much bigger than your normal Tetras, you can keep them in some really cool settings. For example, in my fish tank, I've got moray eel and all of that. I don't really need to worry with my Tetras as long as my moray eel was fed. However, if I had those mini Cardinal Tetras, even if my eel was well fed, it will probably eat those mini Cardinal Tetras eventually. But yeah, now let's talk about the price. Congo Tetras are slightly more expensive. They can range between like £7 to £9 depending on where you go. And by themselves, of course, that is fine, but you're gonna want a group, so you are gonna have to get multiple, and that's where the prices start adding up. But like I mentioned at the start of the video, you can also just buy them bit by bit. That's how I do my schools, because man's broke out here. And yeah, just build them up over time. It also works like that, as long as you're okay with all of your fish being different ages and sizes. Now, one thing I should mention is they are on the rarer side, not completely rare. Like, you will still find them fairly regularly, but there is a chance that if you go to some fish stores, you might not find them. It could be because they sell out very quickly or because they just don't have them. For example, here in the UK, if I go to like a local fish store like Wholesale Tropicals, I find them there all the time. That is fine. However, if I go to one of the chain pet stores like Pets at Home, I've never seen them sell Congo Tetras before. So that's what I mean. They're not as common as the Cardinal Tetra and the rainbow fish. Now, I've mentioned this plenty of times. This goes for all of the fish on this list, but they look incredible with plants. Once again, it's just all about that contrast in color and having all these different levels in your fish tank. And they're very easy to feed. They eat near enough everything. Now, before we carry on, if you want to see more videos like this every single week, then people, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps me out. But yeah, anyway, back to these fish. And the next fish on this list, honestly, they have one of the most incredible colors in this hobby, and that is the desert goby. Now, people, I don't know how to explain it, but the desert gobies, they are so bright. Like, the footage I'll put over the screen, understand it's not edited to make them look any brighter. This is how they looked in the actual fish tank raw. They have incredible colors, and it goes without saying, they look incredible with plants. They also have this very unique look because they're goby. You see, every other fish I've mentioned so far, they are fish, so they all have that general shape. I mean, yeah, the Bozemanai fish are shaped slightly different to the Congo Tetras and that, but they have that general fish shape. However, the gobies, they are a completely different shape, and they bring a whole new dynamic to your fish tank. And the best thing about them is they breed very easily. It's amazing, really. Now, they don't school, but because they do breed and you can potentially get more and more as time goes on, having all of these around your tank with those incredible colors, they'll just look so cool, man. They stay near the bottom anyway. Schooling fish are more for the ones that are, you know, in the mid-range. But yeah, just the fact that once you buy a pair, they are gonna make babies and you're just gonna have more and more eventually, as long as the babies survive, is a really cool thing. Now, the thing is, they are quite rare. You are not going to find them in every single fish store. I mean, I've been to quite a few fish stores, but the only one I've ever seen them in is Wholesale Tropicals in Bethnal Green. So yeah, it might be a bit hard for you to get a hold of them, but if you live in London, go to Wholesale Tropicals. They always have them there. Actually, I shouldn't say always. They have them there most of the time. They're also very easy to feed. They eat near enough everything. The food I showed you earlier, they ate that up easily. And the price isn't too bad either, considering that they breed. So I think they were like £12 a piece, but you can literally just get a male and a female and let them breed, and if you look after those babies, you're gonna have plenty in no time. Did I mention they look good with plants? If I didn't, they look amazing with plants, man. Now, the only bad thing about them is the females once again look a bit dull. They are basically just grey. However, having said that, because they're gobies and gobies just have that natural, really cool look about them, even the doll female looks really cool because they just have that gobi face, and I don't know how to explain it, but they just look cool, man. Oh, I guess the one thing I should mention is they might eat smaller tank mates, like cherry shrimp or something like that, because their mouths are quite big. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And people, we are already at number 1, and I honestly left one of the best for last, and that is the discus fish. Now, the discus fish have incredible colors and they look unique, and of course they look amazing in a planted tank. They are also a schooling fish, or actually I think they're a shoaling fish, which is kind of similar, but they do swim in a group, which looks really, really nice. And there's a wide range of colors and patterns that you can actually get. I swear people, I want them so bad. However, that's the thing I should really mention about them. They do take a bit more work. They definitely need warmer water. So my water is somewhere between 25 and 26 degrees. They need at least 28 to 30 degrees. So yeah, the water needs to be a lot warmer with discus fish, which is why most of the time you would need them in their own species only tank, or with the only tank mates being fish that can handle those warmer waters. They are also apparently a bit difficult to feed. I've never had them myself, so I don't know about the feeding, but apparently they've got really small mouths, so it is a bit harder to feed them. Now, they are available in most places. They are fairly common. However, people, just be prepared, they are very expensive. I mean, technically they are worth the money if you have it, because the displays you get with them, it's just amazing. However, it's definitely something that is for people who have that income and you can afford to do so, because they are expensive, the setup will be expensive, and naturally because they need warmer waters, it's going to be a higher electricity bill. They are peaceful though, so if you can find fish that can live in those warmer waters, they can have tank mates. And yeah, people, that was 5 fish with incredible colors that will take your fish tank to the next level. I've actually kept most of the fish on this list, and if you want to see the day I got my desert gobies, then click right here.